Hello, I'm Richard ZK from Rammstein at Jones Beach, and you're watching Loudwire.
Hey everyone, Graham from Loudwire here, sitting with Richard Kruspe from Rammstein. Thank you so much for your time, man. Appreciate it. Here at Jones Beach in wonderful New York. So excited to see you guys tonight, and welcome back to America. It's been a little while, so we're very happy to have you back.
Yeah, it's always been a while.
Yes, it's been a little bit, but
thank you for having me here.
Oh, of course, anytime. A bit of a scare back in Germany recently at Rock am Ring. Unfortunately, your set had to be canceled because of a potential bomb threat. When that happened, how did they come to you? Did they come to you as sort of a panic at all, or were they calm?
With German, everything is very well organized now. Even
yes.
The bomb threats.
Even the bomb threats.
Yeah. No, it just came to us. We weren't really not ready to play, so we were in preparation. And one of the guys from the festival came and said, this is the situation, and we have to cancel the shows today. So
yeah.
So we were.
It wasn't like, everybody out, everybody out.
No, it wasn't like that.
It was very calm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When it comes to a potential new Rammstein album, there is writing happening. As a guitarist, how many ideas do you have floating around that you think might contribute to this new album?
Well, first of all, I have to say that I was a little scared in the beginning to just jump back into a Rammstein record, because it's always a big challenge for us to do those records, and sometimes, we're afraid to not survive those records. So in the beginning, what we did, it was like 2 years ago, we made a deal and said, let's only focus on 5 songs,
Okay.
Well, and I have to say before, we at the moment we're in a situation where we're quite privileged to not having any kind of deals with record labels or.
Okay.
So we're kind of free as a bird, as you can be, and there's no pressure from outside we have to do certain things. So we decided, okay, just try to do 5 songs. There's no pressure, and let's start on that. And we started 2 years ago. Just rehearse, come up with ideas and stuff, and all of a sudden, we're 2 years later, and we're at the moment at 28 ideas, I guess.
28 already.
Yeah, and it's kind of a miracle what happened. I couldn't believe that. Somehow I felt like we kind of came back to the beginning of Rammstein in a way where we were at this point. We were really. Excited, sometimes after 20 years being with the same band, you get tired of certain things,
Sure.
We were really excited of each other. It was kind of like every morning, we're happy to go into the dressing room, which we haven't been for a long time. So
recently in an interview, I heard you describe being in a band like Rammstein as a marriage with no sex.
Right.
It's
what has changed, actually.
Well, and also Rammstein for a long time has been
hand jobs right now.
Is that? Well, it's getting better then, yeah. So, but you've been using therapy sessions between the members to get everyone's feelings out there. It's probably a very good idea. Maybe less lineup changes in the rock world would happen if they took that approach.
It helped me over the years to understand what's the genius of the team. So, and I learned a lot, and it's half of the time what we do is really conversation. It's communication, try to really, and this wasn't always like that, obviously you go up and down. There were times I felt I don't want to do it anymore. I want to be in, I want out, but there was always something, a bigger picture that I'd seen that made it worthwhile. And I always figured, if we can overstep our egos, there's something more beautiful than fighting for your egos. So
back to the quote of the marriage without sex. I always thought the live show was the sex. Would you say that's true? Of course the marriage, there's a lot of difficulties and stuff, but then the live show when you actually get to go out there and bring it to the people.
Well, it's a recreation of what you already created.
Yeah.
In the end of the day, and some people like that. For me, the actually orgasm when you talk about in this kind of visual thing is when the song comes together. This is like the
Okay,
part
yeah.
which I enjoy the most.
That's your favorite part
That's
about
my favorite part of everything in the music, when all the pieces come together and all of a sudden you create like, a child, or, it comes out. And of course, it's good for your ego when you play out there, and it's fun too. But this moment where you create something that all those elements come together is just so wonderful and beautiful. And that's what makes me, to be a musician.
I've been wondering, in the long history of Rammstein, of course, you've used fire in a lot of your shows. Has there ever been a time where you went to a venue and then last minute they said, "Hey guys, I'm real sorry, but you can't do fire today"?
Yeah, there was one
Really?
show, in Chicago, actually, long time ago. And the funny thing, there was one of the shows I really remember, because it was probably something very special, and we had a very, very good time. So we could actually survive without the fire, which, that's what I said. Like, this whole show thing and the fire, it's became a part of Rammstein, and it's kind of a burden. And like, also our job is to keep the balance between the show and the music. And sometimes I feel like the show and all the fire elements like taking over, So you really have to keep the balance, because otherwise you become a circus clown.
Do you think people focus too much on the theatrics at times?
It's basically the first thing they see. Obviously it's very powerful.
Yeah.
And it's a great element. Just to to bring the energy to the people. For me, one of the best things to play live is like to exchange energy from the band to the audience. The audience bring the energy back, and fire actually supports that. So
is there any estimate on when do you think the new record will be ready to record or finished?
Well, at the moment, what we do, we're looking for new producers.
Okay.
So we realized that we want to change the whole production team, just because of we haven't worked very successful with a certain team over the last 20 years. And I think right now there's time for a little change. Also, maybe because it's going to be the last record that we do. It's I think like we're ready for doing different ways of recording, or like have a different view of our music. To kind of push in a different direction. And it's always about like a fragile situation where, because you want to change it a little bit, but you don't really want to leave the Rammstein sound that you had before. So it's going to be tricky.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel that in your heart this might be the last record?
Well, I always believed, when I did a record, it was the last one, but
Always,
it was also the first record. So, like, life is full of surprises, and it always taught me a different lesson. So I think, yesterday I had my 50th birthday, and I was thinking,
happy birthday!
Well, thank you. I was saying yesterday, I was like, well, I know the moment where I said, like, I'm definitely not staying on stage when I'm 50. So yeah,
and here you are
50
tonight.
years, playing the show, and that's there's a saying, if you want to make God smile, tell him his plans. It was a really interesting thing, what we did with this movie. It was like 5 years ago when Jonas came and said, like, let's do a rock movie, and I think it was the first time that the band kind of gave up control about a project, because we were really involved in everything. What happened with the band, what comes out. And I think it was the first time we said, like, well, there's this guy and he has a vision, and he did that unbelievable, incredible movie called Rammstein Paris.
Was it difficult to wait so many years to finally see that final product?
Well, I forgot about it, to be honest.
Okay.
It was so long that I wasn't really remembering it.
All right.
And then it came back, and
you're like, oh, cool.
I was like, no. In the beginning, I was like, fuck, man, this is so fast. I can't really, I got headaches, is what I said. Yeah. But then I kind of like, we kind of like agreed on let's do his stuff. He was really convincing, and he was burning for this project. And I'm glad, after all, that we let him do what he was doing.
Did the band get together all together and watch the final product?
We did, yeah. We had the thing with the movie. It came out like in the beginning in whole Europe in different cinemas, and obviously it's very difficult to put a rock show on screen,
Sure.
But we thought, like, in a movie theater, it's the closest thing you can you can have than, you know, watching a live show. And I was watching it, and I felt there were moments where I felt like I'm in the middle of a show, you know?
Yeah.
Which is interesting. I have never seen our show.
Sure. Yeah. It's a pretty good show. Well, everybody check out Rammstein Paris if you haven't already. It's absolutely spectacular. And go see these guys on tour if you get a chance. Richard, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.